I went 5 years without ever driving on a highway despite having a license. And here's why. Around a month ago, I was diagnosed with OCD. This is something I've had my entire life that I didn't realize. So how does OCD impact driving? A part of OCD is struggling with intrusive thoughts. Sometimes before I would get into a car, my brain would be like, if you drive on a highway, this horrible thing is gonna happen. That would stop me from driving. How was I able to overcome this? For me, what it came down to was getting therapy, and my therapist recommended 2 things. She was like, 1, you're gonna have to do some exposure therapy. I paid to get driving lessons despite already having a license. But the last time I got driving lessons, I was around like 17. I don't know if it was like this for you, but in order for me to get my driver's license, you just had to drive around a little obstacle course and then show your parallel parking, and they were like, okay, you're good. They didn't require me to drive on a highway. Just so that we're clear, when I say highway, I mean 1, 2, 3 lanes. My driving school, the original one that I went to, they were teaching me how to drive in order to pass the test. If all it takes is to beat the little obstacle course, a lot of my driving lessons were focused on how I could perfect that obstacle course, because the obstacle course is open to the public. That's what my driving school would have me practice on. They also did show me how to drive in residential areas. For the past 5 years, I have been driving in residential areas, right? But I was never comfortable enough to drive on highways. I was inexperienced. My driving school didn't show me that, but also too, I had the OCD telling me, you don't know how to drive on a highway. You can't drive on a highway. You shouldn't drive on a highway. If you drive on a highway, something bad is gonna happen. And if something bad is gonna happen, like, that's gonna be really bad. So in order for us to prevent something bad from happening, we just have to avoid it altogether. Or we can only drive if certain specific conditions are met. AKA, you not on a highway. You only can drive in residential areas. And that's what it's like in my brain. What happened in the rest of the time, right? You know, we had the pandemic, and then we had my 4 years of college. I was an RA, so I was living on campus. At my campus, you don't have your car on campus. My university was in a city, so I didn't need to know how to drive. When I would come home for summer break, I would drive a little bit, but I was only really driving in my town, in a residential area. When I graduated college, this summer I decided, you know what? I'm gonna learn how to drive for real, for real. I'm gonna go get more driving lessons, but this time I'm gonna call the driving school and I'm gonna tell them, hey, I already have my license. I'm trying to feel more confident driving on a highway through the driving school. Luckily, this was a different driving school than my original driving school. I was able to really learn how to drive. I really loved it. I had a good experience. In 1 week, I did 6 hours of driving with this driving instructor. And because of that, I know I can drive. Yeah, it was a little scary driving myself on the highway. And I'm not gonna lie, I still get intrusive thoughts. Like, those don't go away. But now I can combat the intrusive thoughts by being like, pause. I know you're saying that this bad thing is gonna happen, but I do know what I'm doing. And that if I am in that bad situation, I will know how to handle it. The other thing that my therapist recommended was accepting the uncertainty. Something bad may happen and something bad may not happen. Anytime you go in a car, yes, there's always gonna be some kind of risk. But at the end of the day, all I can do is just be as safe as possible. If you've been scared of driving, if you're someone who struggles with, I wanna drive, but I'm afraid something bad's gonna happen, or I really don't know what to do, then my advice to you is honestly, if you can, see if you can take some driving lessons. For me, it feels a lot more comfortable when I have someone else in the car, get help, and you got this. It's tough. OCD is not something that you can just cure, but it's something that you can manage, and there is hope.